Welcome back to the Real Power Podcast. I have an awesome guest today. Very, very excited. John Rizzo from 1RDG, the managing partner of one of the biggest companies here in Rochester. He's worked his ass off his entire career, and what he's built is truly inspiring. I've been following him for quite some time and actually photographed his house a couple years ago, met his lovely wife, Anne Marie,
Yes.
and that's how we kind of got connected. So I'm excited to dive into his entrepreneurial journey and just pull out as many lessons and gold nuggets as we can and what you've learned along the way. So, John, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Cam. And congrats on all your success in putting this together. And I got to thank my wife for connecting us.
Gotta thank the wife.
She's taking all the credit for me being here today, and she deserves it.
She does.
So
Yep.
you did a great job with our house and some things you've done at the office. So
Thank you so much.
appreciate it and appreciate you having me today.
Yeah. Well, let's bring it back. Let's start from the beginning. And entrepreneurship, man, it's a tough world. Why did you decide entrepreneurship was for you?
It's almost like a drug, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like you're always striving to be better and wanting to do more. And for me, it's, I saw this video that talked about the pain that exists when you're running a business. And that pain, although it feels like pain, it really is success. And if you're trying to improve all the time and thinking about ways to improve, and it sometimes is very frustrating, that means that you're thinking about getting better.
Yes.
And that like feeling, that taste has been in me, for the last 20 years, and it's really driven me. So my history goes way back, with the no hair here. About 20 years ago, almost, we started our firm, and I spent 9 years at a great firm in town and learned a lot. But along the way, I realized like business is what was driving me. It wasn't necessarily accounting. Accounting is fun and interesting to me, and that's what I went to school for. But once I learned the business side of things, the relationship side of things, that's when I really had that thirst to be an entrepreneur. And then, started almost 20 years ago and it's continuing now, and it evolves every day. And I'm having a lot of fun.
It looks like it, man. I mean, I follow you guys online, and your culture, your office space, your team is just, it just looks like you guys have a ton of fun. And I think that's so important that you work with people you really like and you still get shit done. It's like
Yes.
that perfect balance.
Yeah, we talk GSD is spread all over our office. Get shit done. I mean, we use that term a lot. We talk a lot about life in our office. We're together a lot. In our industry, when we're a financial center, so we have very busy times of the year. Like tax season's one of them, where you're working 60, 70 hours a week, and you're together. And we just want to know that everyone's enjoying the place that they're at. And we put amenities in place, like our gym, like our bar. We bring trainers in. We're together a lot. We want everyone to have a good life experience in our office, including ourselves. We're there so much. We spend so much time together. Let's make it the best amount of time it could possibly be. Too many people, I think, go to work every day, and it's exactly that. It's work. It's a job. It's a punching of the clock. It's a I can't wait to get out of here type of mentality. And we don't want to know that one person in our office is ever feeling that way. And if they are, we say, hey, let's talk about it. How can we make this a better experience for you?
Such a big part, actually caring about the people in your organization and their personal lives, because personal lives affects your professional life. It's tied together, right? And I think the best leaders are the ones who are constantly taking that into account. And I know myself too, like I'm trying to be better with asking how everyone on the team, what's going on in your personal life? Like, how can we make sure work is going good for you, and just continuously checking in with them and making sure everything's good.
Yeah, you don't know what's happening underneath everyone's situation. You just don't know. Like I had a client approach me recently that has a friend that was diagnosed with cancer. And he said, I just want to help him out. He has a small business, not a lot going on. Is there any way we can help him and his wife and his family liquidate this business? Do you have any resources? And we kind of dropped everything we were doing and said, yeah, those are the important things, the things that really matter. we're only on this earth for, too short of a period of time. So let's make the most of those opportunities. And when it's time, when you have an opportunity to help somebody else, you should do it.
100%.
And a lot of that comes back, not that you're looking for anything to come back, but it does come back just from hard work, dedication, responsiveness, helping people out. So
It's so true. And like, it's the golden rule. Like, it's as cliched as it is, you get what you put out into the world, and it does come back. And good people, good things come to you if you're a good person.
yeah, giver's gain is what we call it. And there's such a kind of stigmatism out there about most people are bad, honestly, especially nowadays. And that's not true. It's the furthest from the truth. And we try to lead the charge with that and saying, hey, let's look at this different. The other thing about being an entrepreneur is you can do whatever you want, whenever you want. Some of these larger corporations have so many layers of decision makers, and a decision might come from way up at the top in some other state or country that affects someone down below. In a small business with us with 80 people, we can huddle up in an afternoon and make a decision and make a change and run with it and stick behind it. So that's what I really like too about the small business environment.
Absolutely. How big do you guys want to grow?
It's really not a number of people. It's the type of client. So we're very specific about what client fits us. And the client should really be as selective with us as we are with them.
Yep.
And we're not a perfect fit for everybody. In the last few years, we've had to look at our client base. If we feel like we can't give the attention and support to an individual or a business, then they're not the right fit client for us. So we look at it as kind of the size of client and the number of services that we can bring to the table for the client. So one of the big push we have with One RDG is consolidating services under one roof. So for example, we have clients that utilize our payroll service, our HR services, we broker their health insurance, we handle their taxes and their accounting, merger acquisition, we can handle their books internally, all those sorts of things in one place. Because what generally happens is business owners may use multiple vendors for all of those services. And as much as we like to think that those vendors communicate and talk to each other on behalf of that client, they really don't. They don't as much as they should. And the CPA firms generally are looked at as the quarterback of those relationships. And we are more, yes, we started as a CPA firm, but today we're more a financial center, a financial advisory firm. And being a financial advisory firm, the big difference is we can offer all these services to our clients and bring them together and know that information isn't lost in translation. We can communicate down the hall versus trying to track down some other advisor.
It's huge. You've literally built an ecosystem around financial services, and it's like, okay, you need CPA services, but you also need financial advisement, and you might need payroll, and in like this whole ecosystem that works together. It's powerful.
Yeah, if you start with what's in the best interest for the client, then you get good results. So we kind of reverse engineer our client situation. So if we took you, for example, and said, okay, Cam, what are your goals? When you exit this business someday, now you're very young, so it's probably going to be a while. When you exit this business someday, what do you want it to look like? And too many business owners don't ask that question or answer that question, sometimes until it's too late. You should be thinking of your exit when you begin, but you get caught in the day-to-day and the frustrations of this or that, and you can't see the end. So we're here to help you figure out your succession planning, your estate planning, making sure you keep as much of your money, you grow your wealth, whatever your goals may be. We kind of start with that.
A true partner.
We're on your side of the table. We've instituted these momentum meetings with our clients where it's exactly that. We get our entire team together in a room and we talk about your business. You're not in the room. We talk about you. We strategize about your business. What ideas? What have we missed? What aren't we thinking about? Are there tax incentives? Are there other incentives that exist that can help this client? And then we kind of put a plan together for the client and present it to them in a client momentum meeting where we're covering all these areas. So that's why we kind of minimize the number of clients so we can have those meetings, have those sessions, and devote that boutique time to the client. If you're adding on hundreds and thousands of clients, you just can't do that.
You can't.
You can do it, but it's very challenging. You have to add more people, add more resources, more to manage, and things kind of get lost in the shuffle of going to a scale and a size like that.
And your team only has so much bandwidth, and like you want to give the clients you have your best, right? Your greatest service possible. And we've seen that as well. Like at the beginning, you know, trying to bootstrap a business, I want to work with any client that comes my way, right? But now we're at a point where not everyone's the right fit for us, and we have had to kind of break that belief that it's okay to not serve everybody. We only want to attract the ones who are the right fit for us, and it's a hurdle that I think is a lot of business owners probably struggle to get over. But once you really understand who you're meant to be serving, I feel like it can lead to so much growth.
Absolutely. You said something very important there. It's okay to say no. So when you start a business, and we did it too, any opportunity that comes to you, you want to say yes. Your instinct is to say, yes, I can help you. I want to help you. And then once you dive into some of those projects, you realize maybe this just isn't the right fit. So, I think your most successful entrepreneurs say no a lot more than they say yes. And I've learned over my career of 30 years or so to start to say no, more often.
How important is brand to you?
Extremely important. It's funny, just through our recent rebrand. I remember when we did our first rebrand years ago, one of my partners at the time said, why do we need to be doing branding? And I kind of chuckled about, that question. But you have to stay fresh, you have to stay relevant, and you have to let your community out there know what you're actually doing, what you're about. And we felt like before we launched this recent rebrand that our clients internally had an idea of what we were offering, but the rest of the world really didn't.
Yeah.
So, and we're bold, for a financial firm, we feel like we're cutting edge, we're bold, we're doing things that others aren't. And that's the fun part, is creating things from scratch.
Sure.
And then watching how they evolve. So branding's huge to us. Our social media presence, we have an internal team, we have an external team. We spend a lot of time on it. We spend money on it. We invest in it. We have T-shirts and everything all over the office, signage. Like, you can't open up your computer without some kind of branding message hitting you in the face in our office. So it's super important to us, and we really enjoy it.
Would you say that's really a competitive advantage you have over other competitors in your same industry, having such a strong brand, such a strong social media presence?
I think so. Yeah, I think there's different generations of business owners, but you have to stay on top of each generation. You could argue me at 51 is, I could say what's branding, why am I on Instagram and doing all these things, but I've learned enough to know that you have to stay ahead of the time. And that's, to me, whether it's advanced us ahead of others or not, I'm not sure, but it works for us.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned so far in your entrepreneurial career? Is there one thing that you would want to give advice to that younger generation of entrepreneurs?
I think you have to have a level of trust with people before you go too far with them. And trust is built over time. So I would say I typically give people the benefit of the doubt, and I've probably been burned by trusting people too soon. And I've learned from that, and now I'm a little more cautious about relationships and how true they might be or not. So trust, if you don't have trust and loyalty, then you have nothing. And to me, that's super important. And it sounds probably a little cliche-esque, but it's super important to me that you have those trusting relationships, especially in your partners.
Yes, and it's huge. And I've learned that too, like being able to trust your employees, partners inside your organization, you have to trust them. Otherwise, you can't have the difficult conversations that have to be had, because you might feel a little weird. And I just had this discussion with my team about how they're great about it, because they know, even though I'm the boss man and whatnot, they can still come at me and put me in my place if I'm not leading correctly, or if I have an idea that they don't agree with. Being able to have trust at that foundational level has been crucial for us to be able to just grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. It's nice to have open, transparent conversations and discussions where nobody holds a grudge after.
Yes.
You might get angry and upset
That's
and
okay,
pissed
though.
off and all that, and that's going to happen. But to know that your relationship is strong enough where you can leave that room and know that you're super tight still is very important. And to get to that deep level with people from a business perspective is not easy. You have to do it with clients, and you have to do it internally with staff and partners.
And how do you do that?
Just a lot of touches, right? A lot of relationships, a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions. You know, we have a mentorship program in our office where we get pretty deep with our employees about what's going on. Things aren't always perfect. You know, we'd be lying to say they are. And just having those discussions and conversations like you referenced to say, hey, let's put on the table what's really bothering everybody and let's solve it. I've had others tell me like, hey, Rizzo, I don't like what you did today. You know, I've been known to not be the best communicator.
Sure.
Ask people in my house, ask people in my office. I'm running so fast that I forget to tell people what I'm doing and what's going on.
Yeah.
That's a fault of mine. And I could take that criticism because I know that's something I need to work on. And I think as you work with people more and you understand where your weaknesses are and you can admit them, is where you can build a strong relationship.
100%. Let's go back to your culture a little bit. Is there anything you guys do kind of outside of work, whether it's like retreats or outside company events, to really build a strong culture?
We do a ton. We do a lot of that stuff. So our partner retreat's coming up. So every year our partners get together. There's 8 of us that get together, and we get away for a few days. And some of it's fun, but most of it's strategy.
Sure.
And bonding and strategy, and just kind of we lay out our strategic plan for the next year. We typically do it after our busy times of the year so that everything's fresh in our head of what's going on there. From a staff perspective, we have kind of a social coordinator that actually they just sent a message out this week about summer fun. So they're scheduling events, whether it's cornhole, happy hours, pub crawls, things like that. We just did the corporate challenge last night.
Nice.
We're very active. In the gym, we have a trainer that comes in 3 times a week. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, we have a 45-minute session, whoever wants to show up, and we get 25 or so people.
That's amazing.
In the summertime, it's cool because we can open up the garage doors in our office and crank the music and just let out some steam and have a good workout there. So...
And you get all those endorphins going do you guys do them in the morning, like before work?
There's Wednesdays are in the morning and Tuesday, Thursdays at 11.
Okay.
So right before lunch.
Sure.
And you really, it's great camaraderie, and people are working hard, and we're pushing each other to do better. And just for mental health and physical health, it's so good.
Huge.
I've seen transformations in people just from those workouts that are amazing. Like we've had staff lose 30, 40 pounds.
Dude.
Just by, when a new staff starts, they like kind of look in the gym and peek at the workouts.
Kind of scared a little bit.
Scared to jump into it. Afraid to work out in front of others. And then within a month or so, once they get in there, they're leading the pack. They don't miss it. They're losing weight. They're seeing results. It's contagious. And it's, mentally and physically, it's really helped people in their lives forget about work and the other things that we do.
Yeah, 100%. And I was telling you while we were walking up how I'd love to have a gym in a future office. And I think it's so cool that you guys have that space. And your office is just so sick. Like I encourage people to go. Do you have like a photos or a tour of it anywhere online where people can check it out?
I think we have some. You may have done something.
Okay.
Yeah. If not, you got to come in and do it.
We got to redo some. Yeah.
We got to redo it.
Get a good video for you guys or something.
We're always giving tours. It feels like a museum sometimes.
It looks like a museum, dude. It's like all this natural light coming in. You got a bar, a gym, everything.
Yeah, it's good. And the history of that building is nice too. It was a antique car shop at one point and I didn't even know about this, but clients would come in and tell me, yeah, I used to bring my car here. There's a ramp to drive their car up to the second level and get detailed and dialed up and things like that. Then Hart's grocery store was there. It was a little boutique grocery store in the city. So the city's very excited that we've kind of revamped that into office space. And, it's shown really well. We let our clients use it for events. Jazz Fest is coming up, so we have an event for that. We have clients using it that week for their events. We've had the city use it. We've had local politicians use it. We're happy to let others use it. We're proud of it. And we're excited too.
It's such a cool space, and it's funny. The first spot I met Marty Grisanti at was Hart's Grocery, actually. And now we're like R.I.P. Hart's. That was a cool spot. But what you guys have done with the building and the fact that you own the building as well, correct?
Yeah, it's an investment.
Yep.
It's an investment in the city. We're excited about that. We want more to be happening down there, but they're doing a better and better job about bringing businesses down into the city. There's more restaurants. There's more things to do. I mean, there's a long way to go. Let's be honest about that. But we like being a part of it.
Let's talk about leadership. Leadership is something I'm always trying to get better at. How do you become a good leader?
Everyone's watching you, and you don't even realize it. When you lead, when you think no one's watching, they're watching. So you always have to be on. Is the first piece of advice I would give is make sure you're presenting yourself in a way that leaders present themselves, because you're always being watched. You earn it by respect, right? For me, I believe that our team respects me as a leader because they've watched me roll up my sleeves.
Yes.
They see the dedication I have for our company, the time I put into it, the effort I put into it, how much I care about it, I think is what has helped me become a respected leader. And then you have to make the hard decisions, so it's you're the last line of defense when it comes to decisions, and everyone's looking at you to make the decision. And when you're in a tough scenario, and then they're looking at the results of that decision. So you got to have enough wins there to earn respect. So it's not an easy job. It's hard to earn. But being a leader is, I really love it and enjoy it.
Do you have any inspirational figures that you look up towards in terms of leadership or mentors or anybody?
Yeah, so I've been a part of a lot of executive groups that have other business owners. EO is one I've been a part of for 13 years. So there I'm around business owners all the time. I respect a lot of my clients and things they've done. I've learned a lot from my clients, believe it or not, even though they're supposed to be learning from me. The most successful clients, I kind of, we get together and network. So I'm part of the business community here in Rochester and beyond, meeting with other business owners and learning from them. I learned a lot from other places I've worked, and, things that I've liked and things that I, didn't like as much. But I have a lot of respect for a lot of business owners in town. This is a great business community in Rochester.
It really is, man. I feel like our city is so underrated, and has just so much potential too. I feel like, and just seeing what you guys are doing is inspiring for our community, and I feel like it could be so much. I mean, it's a great city, but I feel like it could be so much more. You know what I mean?
It can. I mean, this city was dominated by big corporations at one time, right? When I moved here, that's really what it was all about, and that carried the city. For this city to still thrive in a business manner without relying on that is very impressive.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see. I mean, we meet with so many young business owners with ideas, and it's great to see their energy and how they're pulling this off. We have some construction clients that started with very tiny projects and now are doing like major universities. It's nice to see where those companies have come and where they're going. And it takes a lot of hard work and good people.
Let's talk about your real estate portfolio. I know you're buying properties, you have partners. What does your current portfolio look like?
Yeah, so I started out, as an accountant, right? You see a lot of things, you see a lot of businesses, a lot of industries, and we all want to create kind of residual income and other income sources around our core business. Those of us that are entrepreneurs. So for me, I started out by just buying kind of smaller properties, like a lot of people. You go and buy a duplex or something like that because that's what you heard was a good idea.
That's how I
And
started.
yeah, so a lot of people, you got to start somewhere.
Yep.
And to me, that was, the maintenance of that wasn't my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a behind the desk guy. I'm not a,
Fixing toilets.
I'm not a hammer and nail person. That's my wife.
Me either.
So really I learned like, how can I be involved with real estate from a finance perspective? So with that, I partnered with clients for the most part on, they were more the real estate developers. I was more the finance capital source. And then we put a team together, to put that all together basically.
Mm-hmm.
So from that, I've grown a portfolio. We've set up a small REIT, as well as a lending fund over the last several years, where we're a capital source and a financial management source for those that are in real estate. And then we partner with where we have a trusting relationship, we'll partner on deals there.
Very
So
cool.
the portfolio is, grown quite a bit through that. It's a separate thing from the CPA firm and the financial center. But it's something I enjoy, having those separate investments and the partners I have there too.
Absolutely. Do you see yourself getting into any other business ventures, or do you think it's solely just focused on one RDG and your real estate stuff?
Well, one RDG is and always will be the focus. Anything else, would be secondary. But I'm an opportunist. So if someone comes with a good idea and I think it's a good idea and we put our brains together and can collaborate, nothing's off the table for me. That's the fun part and the exciting part of being an entrepreneur is, let's look at things, let's brainstorm. A lot of this brainstorming is with clients on behalf of them, helping them kind of fulfill what they're trying to do. But when there's an opportunity or an ask to get involved with something and we do our, very detailed due diligence, we're open to anything.
Yeah. I think as entrepreneurs, there's, we just have those minds where we see all the opportunities and shiny object syndrome, and we want to do everything. And you only have so much limited time in your days, right? And in order to build something great, I think you really need to focus on that one thing first, and before jumping to other opportunities. And I've heard a saying that it's kind of an analogy. If you're trying to, here you are, and you're trying to build your bridge to your fantasy island, your ideal life, business success, whatever you want to call it. If you're constantly trying to build new bridges and not focusing on the one bridge that'll get you there first, I think a lot of people fall into that trap of thinking or starting a business and 6 months in, I want to try something new, and they never gain real traction because they're not focused on that one thing first.
Yep, the shiny object thing is a thing. It's a real thing. Yeah, stick to your core. Like I said, one RDG is my core. It will always be the core. Stay away from the shiny objects. I've made some investments in my career that I regret for sure. Some smaller things or others that I just seem like a good idea, and they distract you from what you really should be spending your time on.
Yep.
So, but there are other opportunities that are worth spending time on, exploring, and investing in after you've done proper due diligence.
Yeah, and I think the key to that, like a lot of higher level entrepreneurs, business owners, they have a lot of stuff going on, but they built their one thing first before getting into any other avenues. And people think like, average millionaire has 7 streams of income or whatever, and it's like, no, you got to build one first, and then you diversify and start to explore other opportunities. So just a common pitfall that I see from people.
Well, if you look at NFL owners, they didn't, owning an NFL team wasn't their core business. They obviously made their money somewhere else in order to buy that NFL team.
Right.
Now that's probably a good investment, once they own the NFL team. But you're right. Your core business is your core business. That should really never change.
How do you balance work and family?
It's a good question. It's not easy. Your schedule has to be. I schedule everything. We have a family calendar that's color coded, so I know I don't miss my kids. I have 4 kids, and I don't miss things. If I have to leave early for a game or a practice or a recital or whatever it might be, something at their school, I make sure that's in my calendar and I commit to it like I commit to anything else. Now it's a give and take because, when you have to move away from work for things, that means work's still there and there's things to be done. So sometimes it results in later nights and things like that. But we also schedule fun too.
Yeah.
So everything's on, as much as it sounds very rigid, and I'd love to ad lib some days, like, hey, let's make today a blank sheet of paper and just do whatever we feel like. Unfortunately, that's not my life right now.
Yeah.
Luckily I have a supportive family and work environment, where I can do both at the same time. But the way I get by is scheduling all of it.
Calendar baby.
Everything
That's it. In the calendar.
I'm very detailed about that calendar.
You have to, because otherwise your day will be filled with things that are just thrown at you in the chaos of your life. And if you have structure, there's freedom in structure is what I've learned. And even as a business owner, you can do whatever you want, right? You're the boss, but having that structure in your days is what allows you to have the freedom to do other things. And it's really inspiring to hear that, because I know when I eventually have kids, I don't want to miss a ball game. I don't want to miss a recital, and seeing that it's possible with, the success you've had it's really cool.
Yeah, it's possible. And we promote it with our staff too. They know if they have to leave at 3:00 for anything that has to do with family comes first. Family absolutely comes first. You leave and you take care of that.
Yeah.
Communicate where you're going to be, but
yeah,
we're very flexible with that, and we promote that. And we promote the in-office environment too, by the way. I know today there's a lot of remote work that happens, and I'd call us a hybrid, but we're 99% in the office. And from a collaboration standpoint, we think that works best. I've had CPA firms call me and ask, how did you get your people back in the office? And what we tell them is, we never let them leave. But there's so many larger companies struggling to get people back in the office, and they're finding that they're losing productivity by not having them in the office enough. Now, in some industries, it probably works fine. In ours, we feel like we need to be there and be together.
There's just something about face-to-face interaction that it's so crucial. It's like, and you just can't have that same touch over Zoom. And we found, like, before we had this office, we were doing Zoom meetings and everything. And, this was a big investment for me to have an office space. And now I'm like seeing the true value of having a place to collaborate where everyone can meet. We can have team dinners here. We can do other fun events outside of work. And it's like, it's so worth it. It may not directly lead to like more revenue, but indirectly it's helping us as a whole. And I'm super glad that we pulled the trigger on the office space.
First of all, your space is phenomenal.
Thanks. Thank you.
The location's great,
Yeah.
how you set it up. Even us talking today, if this were on a Zoom, it wouldn't have the
Wouldn't
impact.
be the same.
Right. We can interact, we can chat before, I can see your space. It's much more impactful than if this were remote.
Yeah, 100%.
So congrats to you for this.
Thank you.
This is a phenomenal space.
Appreciate that. What do you do for fun outside of work?
For me, it's limited. It's with a larger family and business responsibilities and things like that. I'm a sports junkie, so anything sports, playing sports, watching sports, being involved in that way. I'm not much of a golfer.
Oh, I was gonna say we should go golfing.
Yeah, I'm not. I get asked to golf all the time, and you wouldn't want to play golf with me.
Well, I'm pretty bad too, so we could be bad together if we get out there.
Maybe I'll start with you. I'll need something to do when I retire someday.
There you go.
But it's really, spending time with the family, like I said, all the kids' events and things like that. Traveling, spending time with my wife and traveling, things like that, and dinners. There's a lot of nice local restaurants here.
What's your favorite spot you guys have traveled to on vacation?
We went to Italy last summer.
Oh, how
So
was that?
that by far is our number one. It was just great culture there. The people were great. We took the kids, and you think, oh God, we're going away for 2 weeks. Are they gonna how are they gonna be? And they were phenomenal. I
Great.
mean, and we went with another family, really close friends of ours, and
Mm-hmm.
it was nice to see that culture and see something different.
Yeah, that's on our list for my wife and I. She went in high school actually on her class trip, but I still have yet to go. And the only thing holding me back is that plane, that long ride, man. I don't do well on long flights.
Yeah, I'm with you. The travel was the worst part, I
But then
would
you
say.
get there and it's totally worth it.
Then it's totally worth it. Yeah, you need a day or so to get your bearings. But once you're there, just going around, seeing different things.
Did you have like an itinerary, like a strict schedule, or did you just kind of?
We had a very strict schedule. So I'm kind of the spreadsheet guy.
Yep.
So I had us down to the hour. We had my wife kind of set up a lot of it, and we had an agent help us. And then we kind of plugged in, kind of made it more us, and built in some fun there. We went to a couple concerts while we were there,
Nice.
and a lot of dinners. We picked our dinner places ahead of time,
Yep.
based on recommendations, wineries, boat tours. So yeah, it was pretty scheduled. We were in 5 or 6 cities, so we were on the move quite a bit. It was like,
You gotta. There's so much to see too. I
Yeah.
mean, and we're trying to figure this out too. It's like, should we get a travel agent? Is it? I know my wife is like super type A. Should she just organize everything? But it sounds like a travel agent probably is the way to go.
I think the agent was good just to give you some ideas, but then mix in
Mix in your own stuff.
your own stuff.
Sure.
And that's what we did, and that's how I would recommend to anybody. But it at least gives you a guide of, he was from Italy and lived there. He knows a lot.
Absolutely.
So it was very helpful to have him, at least get us off the ground.
Yeah. Any advice for this next generation of entrepreneurs? I know we already talked about some stuff. Is there anything else on your mind that you would want to part some wisdom onto the younger generation?
I would think kind of learn from those that came before you. And I probably didn't do enough of this.
Okay.
Just, have a mentor and have a plan, really. It's nice to start a business, and there's so many landmines out there, and I've stepped in a bunch of them. It would have been nice to have somebody there to guide me to say, hey, you're about to step in a pretty big pothole there. You might want to change your direction.
And why do you think you didn't have one? Was it like, do you think it was an ego thing, or do you think it was just not thinking about even getting a mentor?
I check my ego at the door. That's the mentality of our whole firm.
Okay. Yeah.
If I have to change the garbage in the office, I'm changing the garbage in the office. So I don't get offended. No, I think it's just, you want to do things your way.
Sure.
Like, you think you know the best way all the time.
Yeah.
That your ideas are the best ideas. And if you actually took a step back and thought through it, you probably were making a mistake here or there. But at the time, you think this is let's start a business, doing whatever. You think your idea is the best idea.
Yeah. And then you bring other people into the picture and you realize, wait a second, there's a lot of other good ideas that we can play off of here. And
Yeah.
multiple minds are better and stronger than one.
Yeah, I learned a lot. We did a merger in 2018 with Chris Gamble and his firm, and we're still together. And Chris is very big on direct conversations and mission, vision, values, and identity and all that. And we were just more like, that wasn't our style at the time. And I was against it and saying, like, that's a waste of money is what I thought. And that couldn't have been the furthest thing from the truth, honestly, today. Like, I'm the biggest promoter. We talked about branding and all those things. Like, I'm the biggest promoter of it now, but there was a time when I was a younger business owner where I thought that was a waste of money.
That's all like hoorah and whatever else and not worth it.
Exactly. It was a
see the
bunch of
value in it.
bullshit, and I was wrong.
Yeah.
So it's things like that. There's so much to learn. I still have so much more to learn, but I also have a lot to teach too.
Sure.
And we like developing and meeting with our staff and giving them those teaching moments. I'm not a person that would tell somebody what to do. I'll give you my opinion and my advice, but I'm not going to tell you what to do unless I really feel strongly that you're about to make a major mistake. And that goes for clients or staff.
Yeah, that's huge because you also, when you tell someone what to do, you don't always have all of the context around their situation. So it's a slippery slope. You want to give good advice, but at the same time, you want to make sure, number one, you're giving the right advice, and number two, you're not directly telling them what to do if you don't have all the pieces.
Exactly. I mean, there's some business basics that regardless of what your business is, everyone should follow.
Yep.
Right? You need a good set of financial statements. You need to be well capitalized, all those sorts of things. You need a good banking relationship. You need a good attorney. You need a good accountant, all those things. I would tell any business owner. But outside of that, you're right. You don't know everyone's situation and to that level of detail unless they're your client.
Let's talk about future goals for one RDG. What are the high level goals for you guys right now?
It's really to master this one RDG financial center concept, right? So we're having these momentum meetings. We're meeting with clients. It's educating the market and our clients of everything that we can offer. So that's really what we're focused on today. That's number one. Number two is to develop the next level of leaders in our firm. So we've started that. You know, we send staff to we have a staff attending a Masters of Taxation program at Villanova. You know, so we invest in our people. We spend money on that development, but we get excited when some of our younger people are developing, are becoming that next level of leadership. I think that's where a lot of firms fail, is that the original owners stay the leaders and original owners and don't promote and develop others underneath them.
Don't pour into other people. Yeah.
Exactly. We could go across every firm in Rochester and tell you the ones that have done it well and the ones that have failed at doing it.
Let's call them out right now. I'm just kidding.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to call anybody out, but they know who they are. You know? But to me, we get super excited when we see someone advance. Like, you know, my COO and I and the rest of our partners, like, hey, so-and-so do you know what so-and-so just did today? They handled the client meeting on their own. They were proactive. You know, they understand the one RDG concept and we're able to deliver that to the client. So that, to me, I get super excited when I know someone's taking the next step in their journey.
It's so cool to see too, and like I'm trying to do the same thing, build leaders underneath me, and I'm just very fortunate to have great people around me, and it's so big to not just rely on you for everything at the top. You gotta build the leaders underneath you.
Yep, and that's what we're doing. We have programs to do that. There's always room for more, but it's going well, and we do get really excited about it.
What are your core values?
Well, trust and honesty is number one. I mean, that's where we've gotten into trouble with others, you know, is really that. Family, like you're going to see around our office, family is a big thing. You know, we consider ourselves one big family, you know, one huge family that really enjoys each other. But I would say a level of trust, honesty, transparency, you know, just being upfront with everybody and not sugarcoating anything and not selling anybody anything they don't need. You know, if you do everything the right way, your profits will come.
Yes.
You don't need to force anything down anyone's throat just to make money. And that happens a lot, unfortunately, in business. But you know, if you do what's best for the client, then good things will happen.
Yeah, and especially like referral wise too. If a client sees that you're truly taking care of them, you have their best interest at heart, they're going to do the marketing for you, and they're going to spread the word like wildfire. Yeah,
that's 90+% of where our new business comes from. You know, is that, and I'd say responsiveness is one of the values that we have. You know, traits that we have that has really grown our business.
Yeah.
You know, no one likes, and especially in today's world, you know, in the past when we didn't have all this technology, a response within a few days was acceptable. Today, a response within a few hours is what's expected. And you have to deliver that. You may not have the answer within a few hours, but you at least have to let the client
Let them
know
know I'm on it.
that you're on it. And I think a lot of our business comes from just that, having that level of responsiveness.
Yeah, something I try to keep in mind as we grow is we need to be providing the same level of customer service as day one. When I started this business and I was, my back was up against the wall and I had to make things happen, and I knew that every client experience has to be perfect. And obviously as you scale, it's hard to do that with every client, but keeping especially as you grow, keeping a small, tight-knit feel in your business so that clients don't think, oh, they're too big for me now, and they don't have the same level of customer service as they used to. That's something that scares the hell out of me, and I'm like, we got to make sure that every client is taken care of always, and that's just a priority for us.
Yeah, a big push for us was, how do you, as you grow and scale a business and add more people, how can you stay boutique? And if you ask anyone in my office, I'm like, we're going to do it. We're going to do it.
And I think you guys are doing a great job at it.
Yeah, there's things that can always be improved, but we were told, I love when we're told we can't do something.
It's like, watch us.
Tell me we can't do something, and away we go. And we've been told we couldn't do a lot of things that we're doing, but that was one of them. How do you have that boutique relationship service offering with your clients as you grow? And most people will tell you can't. And that was the day when we knew that we could. And when I hear about you, when your name came up the other day about me coming to do this, they said, that guy's an entrepreneur. They're talking about you.
Thank you.
And all the things you're doing and the time you put into it and the quality of your work shows. So, you've already done great things, and you got a lot of good things to come, it looks like.
Oh,
so
thanks, brother.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I try every day because, I went to school and did the traditional path and got an engineering degree, got a corporate job, and just ended up, candidly hating my life, and was stuck in what I thought was going to be the rest of my life, and decided, I'm young. There's nothing I have to lose right now. I had a little bit of money saved up, quit my job. And ever since then, I've just had a fire underneath me, and a lot of people who didn't necessarily not support me, but I don't know if they believed in me, especially my family, which is hard. My parents, like, I love them to death, and I don't want to get that twisted. But in those moments, in those early days, it felt like it was just me. I felt very alone, and which is something I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with. But that feeling, I think, has driven me to a point, and maybe it's unhealthy, but where I know that I never want to go back to that place, and that I have so much to give to the world through service, through entrepreneurship, whatever. So it drives me.
Yep.
Really does.
Yeah, that's the key. That's a feeling I don't think you can have as just being an employee somewhere punching the clock, obviously. Mm-hmm. It's a high.
It is a high.
It's a high. That it's hard to explain to people that don't have it. Like, I run a lot. Over the last 10 years, I've become more of a runner, and that's where my mind opens up and where a lot of my ideas come from. And I always heard about the runner's high. Like, I have the runner's high.
Yeah.
Like, and I have the business high too.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're in the same spot.
Absolutely. How often do you run? Every day?
Every day. More than I should. Because now there's knee problems, back problems, things creeping in. But,
Were you running in the corporate challenge yesterday?
I didn't run the corporate challenge, just a couple injuries, like my knee and back and things like that. But we had representatives from our firm.
Nice.
So we'll run as a group, in the office, but a lot of times it's on my own, just clearing my head, putting the headphones on. open in my mind. You know, any negative thought you have, once you get going, though they disappear. It's amazing.
For me, it's working out, lifting weights. I have the same. I'm not a big runner, at least not yet. All my dad and all my uncles are huge runners, so maybe I'll turn into one in the future. But for me, when I'm throwing some heavy weight around, my mind that's my happy place. I get into a state where I start to unconsciously solve problems that I've been thinking about for weeks and weeks, and just moving your body. I think that's the key. Moving your body is such a fundamental thing for both your physical and your mental health, and I can't preach it enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same. Even like my wife, our family will always go for walks, walk the dog. We're in the yard. We never sit still, man. It'd be nice, like, to just sit
Well,
and
you also
chill.
have 4 kids, so it's kind of...
But we just, even if we had the opportunity, we just don't sit still.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's, Actually, there was a cool scene in the Nike movie Air where they were coming up with ideas like, how do we land Michael Jordan as, you know, the face of our brand? And Phil Knight said, you know, the one character said, well, where'd you come up with that? He's like, I went for a run. You know? And I got that like crystal clear after he said it. It was cool. We actually showed it in one of our firm meetings, and they related it to me.
I wonder how many good ideas in this world come from a run, a shower, at the gym. Just thoughts that aren't when you're in the office.
That's probably typically where it happens. Because we all go to bed thinking of things, right?
Oh, yeah.
You go to bed thinking of things. You wake up in the middle of the night thinking of things. And then, when it clicks that you kind of solve that issue, it feels great. And usually you're right. It isn't while you're just sitting at your desk with all the other commotion going on. It's somewhere else. So that's part of the balance question you asked earlier is, you have to have that balance because it does benefit the business side too.
Yeah, and on that note too, we're starting to implement quarterly, call them goal setting meetings for our leadership team, and we want to just get an Airbnb every quarter and really remove ourselves from the day-to-day and start to think higher level. Where do we want to take ourselves in the next 90 days, and continually do this to get outside of the chaos and everything, because it's hard to have that big vision when you got clients calling and fires to put out all day long, and it's just something that we're starting to implement.
Yeah, it's good to get away. It's good to get far enough away.
Yep.
So we've done partner retreats like at partners' houses in town. And every time we do it, someone leaves for something.
So it's not the same as
and it breaks up the camaraderie. And you really need to get far enough away where you can't leave.
Where are you guys going for the next one?
Well, this one's a little bit close. It's Canandaigua Lake.
That's still far enough away.
It's far enough away, and everyone knows you can't leave. You know, this is a strategy session. So you got to get the distractions out of the way. Otherwise, the phone's a distraction enough, even if you're away. So, like, turn the phones off, put the phones away. Let's focus. It's so hard to focus today. You know, we're nonstop being pinged with emails and text messages and all sorts of things. And, you know, it's hard to turn it off.
Do you have any method to help you focus more? Do you put your phone on a certain setting? Do you keep things away from you? Like, do you have any tricks that you do to help you focus more?
I lay off social media. I don't spend a lot of time on it. Just from a business side, I do. But other than that, that's one thing I don't do. I used to be on my phone way more than I am today. I don't keep it away from me enough, but I keep it away when I'm in meetings and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, email, I try to check. You know, everyone says you should have email hours. Well, it's hard to be responsive and have email hours at the same time. So I'm not, you know, I like the idea, but I don't do it. You know, so email is one. If I have one major distraction, it's probably email, to be honest. But stick to my schedule, like the schedule we talked about earlier. Like, as long as I'm doing things within a schedule, you know, then that's my best kind of way to be efficient.
Absolutely. I know for me, social media is tough because it's such a driver for us for marketing and business. But at the same time, it's like I try to limit my personal scrolling as much as I can and really get the post off, get the post out, and then shut down the app and like turn off the notifications, because I know my personality, I'll I'll get sucked into it. And my wife, I know she's watching TikTok. She's scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and
Yeah.
she loves it and gets a lot of good ideas from it, actually. But it is such it robs our focus these days.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, it's nice to have, if you had an hour at a time to do things with no distractions. When's the last time that's ever happened?
True.
Probably this podcast.
There you go. And
know?
I know I'm gonna, after this, I'm gonna have a million different things. Your phone's probably gonna be blown up too.
Yep.
And but it is, man. It's hard these days, but that's just learning to adapt with the times. Back to going to that. It's like you just gotta learn to deal with it, really. Any favorite book that has impacted your life the most?
Yeah, I've read some of the business books. I'm not a huge reader, to be honest with you. I'm a kind of learn by example type of person. Like, I learn by doing things. So it's I've on the book side haven't done too much there. It's just research. In my profession is where I spend most of my time, kind of educating myself. Seminars, webinars, things like that. This entrepreneur group I told you I'm a part of, there's so much learning that comes with that. There's a whole learning team and calendar from there. So a lot of my learning comes from
Real world experience.
And that's how I learned, honestly, when I started in the profession. They threw me out at big accounts, and I just figured them out. And I'm thankful for that they threw me into the fire.
Yeah.
And I came out kind of unscathed.
You can read as much as you want in a book. At the end of the day, you just can't learn like as much as the true experience of real world.
Yeah. If we're talking about, I'm the street smart person.
Yeah.
You could say, hey, grew up in the hood, street smart. That's kind of where the hard knocks, that's me.
Yeah.
I've learned through mistakes. I've learned from trial and error. I have a street sense in business that I think is an intangible that not everybody has, and no textbook could ever have taught me.
Amen to that, brother.
Yeah.
John, thank you so much for being on the show. Really, really appreciate it. And I know that people watching are going to get a ton of value from it. And yeah, thank you.
No, thanks for having me. This has been a lot of fun. Good break in the action. So congrats on all your success. And I had a great time.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, we will see you in the next episode.
Thanks.
Peace.
Bye.